Alright folks, welcome back to the channel, and as always I do thank you for watching. Appreciate each and every one of you. And this is the wood flower product that I ordered from Boat Builder Central out in Florida, Fort Pierce, Florida. And so that's the product right there. And I got that in yesterday, and I've already come over here and faired out this side. I've got one or two little spots I need to fix, but no big deal. That's ready for the fiberglass overlay. And I've got some resin already mixed up. I need to come over here and finish fairing this side out. I mixed up this resin here just a few moments ago. One thing I've discovered with this is that you don't mix it up quite as thick as you do the Cavasil. And you don't mix it up to that peanut butter consistency. It's more like a thick milkshake. And if you mix it too dry, then it tends to be a little bit grainy, and we don't want that. We don't want it to be grainy, because then that leaves pits in the finished resin and in the finished epoxy, I should say. And you saw that in that previous video where I was using that homemade wood flour. It's a little bit too coarse, and I ended up with some pitting. And so this right here, I'm going to get this mixed up. One of the advantages to this is I do have a little bit more pot life with the wood flour. It doesn't have that exothermic reaction, that chemical reaction, like Cavasil. You know, when you mix in Cavasil, even with a slow hardener, it tends to speed up the hardening process. This gives me a little bit more work time, and so that's one of the advantages. And so, okay, I'm just going to get this mixed up. I'm trying to hold the camera with one hand, talk, and mix, so let me get this done. And I will get back to you here momentarily. Okay, it's getting there. It's not quite there yet. It's kind of like a, I don't know, real thick maple syrup. When you get to this stage, see, it's still wanting to run off of my mixer stick, my mixing stick here. And when you get to this stage, you want to add just a pinch or two at a time. You don't want to overdo it. The one thing about the wood flour, it's not as forgiving as the Cavasil. You can mix Cavasil a little dry and you'll be okay. This right here I discovered last night, that really you want to get it just to the point where it won't drip off your stick, and it's still dripping off of the little popsicle stick there. So I'm going to turn the camera off once again because I need both hands. I will be right back. Okay, I apologize for the lighting here. It's kind of that time of day. This is kind of what you want right here. It's just starting to kind of ooze down off of that popsicle stick, just barely, and that's kind of what I'm looking for right there, because it will stay in place. You just don't want to mix it up too wet to where it sags and runs off of your repair. So this will work. I've already used it like this a couple of times, making up this fairing compound, so this will work. So with that said, I'm going to get the rest of that fairing work done, and I will be back to you here shortly. Okay folks, that's what I was talking about. I needed to fair this back just a little bit more. I need to go in here and just feather this out and blend this into this panel, this part of the panel into this part of the panel, because remember, that is two separate pieces right there, and I'm just trying to make them look like one piece. And I've already got this one ready for the fiberglass overlay over here. All I did with my leftover resin was come in right here at this overlap seam, and I talked about that in the previous video, where I needed to come in here and just fill up that corner and smooth out that corner. And that's what I did with my leftover epoxy. So it's working out very well. I like this wood flour for this type of stuff right here. I'm still going to use the Cabasil for bonding panels, but for fairing compound, that seems to work very well. I think it sands a little bit easier than the Cabasil resin, the Cabasil thickened resin. This is thickened Cabasil right here, and this is just a little skim coat that I put over this overlap seam right here on the side panel when I made these scarf joints and when I bonded these together. Came back a little bit later on, and like I said, I just put a little skim coat right here. And this sets up a little bit harder than the wood flour. It's a little bit harder to sand, so I think the wood flour thickened epoxy is the way to go in certain applications, in certain instances. Okay, folks, it is about 8:30. I'm losing my light out here, so I am going to call it a night, let this stuff set up. Like I said, it takes longer for this to fire off because it does not chemically react in the same way that the fumed silica Cabasil does, so it just takes a little bit longer to dry, which is a good thing in this heat. So we will see you folks tomorrow morning. Alright folks, I know that was kind of a juggling act there in those previous segments, trying to mix up that resin and hold the camera and narrate and all at the same time. It's kind of like chewing gum and rubbing your stomach and patting your head at the same time. But I forgot to mention that I've got the bottom panels cut. I did that this afternoon, and I just fired a field table saw over there and got these cut out. There's 4 panels right here, and all I need to do now is get the scarf cuts done on the ends and get them bonded end to end, and then get everything ready for those panels to bond to the bottom of the boat. Alright folks, thanks for watching. See you in the next segment. Okay folks, just a quick update. I'm putting the finishing touches on all that cosmetic stuff I talked about in the last video. As you can see right here, I've got this faired like I want it. It's nice and even and smooth, makes a really smooth transition from this little piece that I bonded to the nose here back to this panel. And yeah, there's a few little tiny pinholes right there. I'm not concerned about those because this is going to get overlaid with fiberglass cloth, and probably 2 layers of fiberglass cloth, so that's not even going to be an issue right there. If I was doing body work on a, let's say a quarter panel on a 69 Dodge Charger or a 69 Camaro, something like that, I mean, even the body filler that you use is going to leave pinholes, and then you have other putties that you would use to come over that to remove pinholes. You would either use lacquer putty or just a like a high, what they call a high fill primer. But I've got this overlap seam nice and smooth. I mixed up some of that wood flour putty this morning and used my popsicle stick tongue depressor there to just apply that putty to this overlap seam right here at the bottom of this top panel, and that gave me a nice consistent radius all the way down to the stern. I wish you could see that, but I'm getting a really bad glare when I point the camera this way, and I'll show you what I mean. But I can see that, and man, it is nice and even. Maybe okay, yeah, right there, yeah, that's good. You can see how nice and even that is, and that's what I was going for right there. I wanted that to be nice and smooth and even and not have a bunch of waves and high spots and low spots in it, and I'm happy with that. And got the other side looking the same way. And now that that's done, at least for now, let me backtrack and say the cosmetic issues are done for now, because I still have to figure out how I'm going to bring the rub rail all the way up to the bow right here. I still haven't figured out exactly how I want this to look, where the rub rail is going to meet the bow right here. So that's something I'm still thinking about. But the scarf sled's ready to go. These panels are ready. I've just got to make time and get that done. right, folks, that was just a quick update, and I will see you later. Hey, folks, welcome back. That's going to wrap this one up. I just wanted to do a little quick follow-up video to that last video where I was taking care of some of those cosmetic issues that I showed you. And tonight, the Lord laid something on my heart that I want to share with you. I think that we'd all agree that right now we're living in some very volatile times. And, there's just a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. And of course, there's a lot of anger, a lot of division, and I think it can all be summed up in one word, and that word is lawlessness. There is a lot of lawlessness in the world right now. No one wants to be under anyone's authority, whether it's human authority, and certainly not the authority of God. People are rejecting authority. For us, even as Christians, it's easy to get distracted by all this, and it's far too easy to get angry and upset over all the stuff that we see taking place in the world around us. But as messed up as we think this world might be in our day and time, the Roman world in the time of the Apostle Paul was every bit as bad, and maybe it was even worse in some ways. But that did not distract Paul from his mission. And when he heard that false teachers had infiltrated the church at Colossae, he penned a letter to that church proclaiming to them the absolute supremacy of Jesus Christ. And keep in mind, this was not a church that Paul had planted, but nonetheless he felt led to pen this letter, which we call the book of Colossians, to them. In the 3rd chapter of the book of Colossians, we're given a very good reminder of where our focus and attention need to be, and it's very applicable given the times that we're living in right now. Paul wrote in Colossians 3, verses 1 through 4, "Since then you have been raised with Christ, set your heart on things above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. For you died, and your life is now hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory." Like I said, there's a lot of stuff happening in the world right now, and a lot of it's bad stuff, unfortunately. And the evil one, Satan, he wants more than anything for us to get distracted and take our eyes off of Jesus Christ. But as Paul reminded us, we don't want to focus on the things of this world, and that includes things going on in the world all around us. Instead, as Paul reminds us, we must keep our hearts and our minds and our eyes focused on our relationship with God through our faith in Jesus Christ. Folks, that is all I have for you tonight. I just wanted to share that brief message with you. Again, I do thank each and every one of you for clicking on this video and watching. And as always, in all things, to God be the glory. And again, I thank you.